Rarely people know about Justina, as Justina remains a figure of resilience, a woman who navigated the complex world of Roman politics and faith with a rare combination of strength and conviction. She was a woman ahead of her time, wielding power in a society that rarely allowed women to do so, challenging both the political and religious authorities of her day. Here is a detailed real bio of her. Justina's early life, much like her legacy, is shrouded in mystery. Born in the mid-4th century AD, she entered a world on the brink of change, where the grandeur of ancient Rome was being gradually replaced by the early forms of what would become medieval Europe. Some historical accounts suggest that Justina may have been connected to the illustrious Constantinian dynasty, giving her a lineage linked to the establishment of Christianity within the Roman Empire itself. This potential familial connection to Constantine the Great, though debated, casts a fascinating light on her life, hinting at a destiny intertwined with Rome's spiritual and political evolution. As a young woman, Justina was renowned not only for her beauty but for her intellect and charisma. She was raised at a time when Roman society was evolving, and the Christian faith was transforming the empire's spiritual landscape. She would have been educated in the classics, tutored in rhetoric, philosophy, and literature, as any noble Roman woman might have been. But beyond these conventional teachings, Justina possessed a keen sense of the political and social tides around her, a skill that would later become her greatest asset. 2. A union with Valentinian I. The rise to empress. Justina's fate took a decisive turn when she met Valentinian I, a Roman emperor known for his military prowess and administrative skill. Valentinian, a pragmatic and often severe leader, had already married, but his wife had passed, leaving him a widower. By marrying Justina, he not only gained a companion but a strategic partner who would support his rule. Justina's marriage to Valentinian is one of those rare instances in Roman history where the emperor seemed to value not just the lineage or wealth that marriage might bring but the qualities of the woman herself. The union between Justina and Valentinian was more than personal. It was a strategic alliance. Her influence within the imperial court grew steadily, and she became known for her ability to navigate its complex politics. As a wife and soon as a mother, Justina secured her position, giving birth to several children, including Valentinian II. Her role in the court was that of an advisor, confidant, and strategist, a position that women in Roman imperial history seldom achieved. Through her husband, Justina gained access to the epicenter of Roman power, but she also recognized that her survival and influence depended on her political astuteness. While some women of her era were confined to the private sphere, Justina actively participated in state affairs, studying the nuances of Rome's sprawling empire and forming relationships with powerful generals, senators, and bishops. 3. The early widowhood and regency. In 375 AD, tragedy struck when Valentinian I died unexpectedly while on campaign. Suddenly, Justina was no longer the emperor's wife but the guardian of her son, Valentinian II, who was only a child at the time. This death catapulted Justina into a new role, that of a regent mother, where she would wield more direct power than she ever had before. As the empire grappled with the consequences of Valentinian I's death, Justina acted swiftly. Recognizing the vulnerability of her young son's claim to the throne, she allied herself with her late husband's co-emperor and half-brother, Gratian. This alliance temporarily secured her son's position, allowing her to establish a regency. But this arrangement was a delicate one. It required Justina to balance Gratian's influence with her own goals for her son's future rule. Within the imperial palace, Justina became the de facto ruler, holding court, issuing decrees, and negotiating with generals and officials. Her role was particularly unconventional for a Roman woman, as she wielded power in her own right rather than through a husband. She demonstrated a remarkable capacity for diplomacy, engaging in correspondence with distant provincial leaders and even neighboring barbarian tribes, maintaining a network of support for her son's reign. IV. The religious struggles. Champion of Arian Christianity. One of the most defining aspects of Justina's reign as regent was her religious stance. Unlike the mainstream Nicene Christians, she was a follower of Arianism, a branch of Christianity that held that Christ was distinct from and subordinate to God the Father. Arianism had significant followers among the Gothic tribes, and Justina's support for it may have been as much a political strategy as it was a personal belief. This religious stance brought Justina into direct conflict with Saint Ambrose, the influential bishop of Milan. Ambrose was a towering figure in the early Christian church, known for his theological scholarship and his dedication to the Nicene Creed. His moral authority was unmatched, and his influence over the people of Milan and beyond made him a formidable opponent. The clash between Justina and Ambrose became a defining chapter in her life. When she attempted to secure a basilica in Milan for Arian worship, Ambrose refused. His defiance sparked a public standoff, with Ambrose famously refusing to leave the basilica, even as imperial soldiers attempted to seize it. This episode not only illustrated the power struggle between church and state but highlighted Justina's resilience. She refused to back down, even when facing one of the most revered figures in Christianity. Despite her efforts, Justina ultimately lost this battle, as Ambrose's influence over the people of Milan and his ability to appeal to the broader Christian community was too strong. Yet, her stance marked her as a rare figure willing to challenge the Church's authority. For many historians, Justina's advocacy for Arianism symbolizes the persistence of religious diversity within the Roman Empire and the complex interplay between politics and faith. V. Diplomatic challenges and strategic alliances. Beyond her religious conflicts, Justina was faced with a series of diplomatic challenges that tested her acumen. The Roman Empire during her regency was a fractured entity, with external threats from the Goths, Huns, and various Germanic tribes. Internally, there were also divisions, as regional leaders sought greater autonomy or rival claims to the throne. Justina managed to maintain a delicate balance between these competing forces. She fostered alliances with military commanders and secured the loyalty of various provinces, often by appealing to their shared Arian faith or through strategic marriages. For instance, she arranged for her daughter Galla to marry Theodosius I, the Eastern Roman emperor, a marriage that would later have significant political implications. Her ability to build and maintain these alliances speaks to her skill as a diplomat and strategist. In many ways, Justina's life as regent reflected the challenges facing the Roman Empire as a whole, struggling to maintain unity in the face of both internal and external pressures. Vi. Exile and the Eastern Court. Justina's fortunes took a dramatic turn when she and her son were forced into exile following a series of political setbacks. Her son Valentinian II had come of age, but his authority was threatened by powerful figures within the empire, including the general Arbogast. Justina's influence had waned as Valentinian sought to assert his independence, and when conflict broke out between the Western and Eastern empires, she found herself in an increasingly precarious position. Seeking refuge, Justina and Valentinian II fled to the Eastern Roman Empire, where they found themselves at the mercy of Theodosius I, her son-in-law. In Constantinople, Justina was once again an empress dowager, but now in a foreign court with limited power. Her once vibrant political career had entered a quieter phase, marked by reflection and resilience. Although her influence was diminished, Justina continued to advocate for her son's rights and interests. Her presence in Constantinople served as a reminder of the complex alliances that shaped the late Roman Empire, and her status as the widow of Valentinian I still commanded respect, even if she no longer held direct power. 7. The legacy of Empress Justina. Justina's death around 388 AD marked the end of an era. Her life, marked by both triumphs and controversies, left a lasting impact on the Roman Empire. Through her advocacy for Arianism, she became a symbol of religious plurality within the empire, representing a time when multiple Christian doctrines coexisted and vied for dominance. Her legacy lived on through her children, particularly Galla, whose marriage to Theodosius I tied Justina's lineage to the Eastern imperial line. This connection would later play a role in shaping the course of the Eastern Roman Empire, particularly during the rise of the Byzantine Empire. Now you know who was she. If you truly respect and like her, just hit the like button, and also if you love this type of real history, just click the subscribe button. Now let's take a leave and again meet at another interesting story. Up to that time, goodbye, have a nice day, my friend.